Alright, so Mr. Sorfy has been having you guys practice with JLab. So on that last screen where they're showing you the different types of questions or categories and what you need to maybe get more practice on, I figured out a way this morning to go and pull up just those types of questions. So what you're going to do is go to JLab, obviously. You can click Algebra 1, and then however many questions you want. And go ahead and put in your name. And instead of clicking I am ready, let's start, click on select additional test options. And then click next options, and here's where you're going to pick the category. So Mr. Sorfy asked me to do expressions and operations, so that's what I'm going to click. And then I'm going to do next, and I'm going to do this first. They got 3 different versions of the test. I'm doing the first one here. And there we go. Alright, so now I'm going to go over to my whiteboard. And I need to pull it up, so give me just 1 second. So what is the value of 2a squared b plus 5ab minus 4 if a equals -4 and b equals 5? So let's go to our whiteboard to figure that out. I've already written out the problem. We're just going to plug in our a and b. So 2 times a squared, a is -4, so squared is -4 times -4, which would be what? 16. Oops, I didn't mean to do a plus sign. Times 16 times b, which is 5. Close parentheses. Now we're going to do our next set. 5 times a, which is -4, times b, which is 5. Close parentheses, minus 4. Alright, and now I'm going to use my calculator. 2 times 16 times 5 equals 160. Five times -4 times 5 is -100, so that plus changes to a minus. And then bring down that -4. Alright, so 160 now, minus 100, minus 4 equals positive 56. So we're going to click on J. Yay, we got it correct. Next question. Ooh. Scientific notation. So let me explain scientific notation real quick as I get tongue-tied. So if you have a number that's a pretty big number to deal with, 1,560,348. Wouldn't it be easier if we could deal with a smaller number? Well, you can. All you got to do is move your decimal. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to put a point after the 1, and then we're going to round, so we're going to leave it in the hundredths place, times 10 to the 6. Now that number looks a lot more manageable, doesn't it? So that's what we're dealing with in this next problem. Alright, so we have the Earth and the Sun. Here's my Sun. Here's my Earth. Now they gave us a distance. 1.5 times 10 to the 8th. 1.5 times 10 to the 8th. Now remember, if you wrote this out, that would be 1 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So see, that's a pretty large number that we're dealing with. Alright, so this is our distance, we said. Now our speed is 3 times 10 to the 5th. Kilometers per second. And we want to know how much time it's going to take if we're going at this speed to travel this distance. So, we are going to do time equals distance divided by speed. Now, instead of writing out these great big numbers, and actually let me write this so you can see it. We're going to use Desmos. Alright, we could deal with laws of exponents and all that jazz, but let's face it, we're taking the SOL, we're in a time crunch, we don't want to make any mistakes. We want to get this right the first time so we can move on to harder things. So give me 1 second while I pull up Desmos. Alright, so we're going to do parentheses, and then we're going to set up our equation. 1.5 times 10, hit this little AB button, to the 8th, tab, parentheses, divided by, parentheses, 3 times 10, hit the AB button, to the 5th, tab, parentheses. And it looks like our answer is 500. Whoops. You didn't see that. Alright. H. Correct. Alright, now we get to do my favorite method. Alright. We're going to erase. Clear canvas. Alright, so which expression is equivalent to 3a plus b times 2a minus 4b? And this time I'll use this glitter pen. 3a plus b times 2a minus 4b. So, which expression is equivalent? All right. So there are several different ways you could do this. I'm going to show you the way I was taught growing up. If you have a way that works better for you, that is perfectly okay. All right, so I'm going to use the FOIL method. All right, so I'm going to do my first. So that gives me 3a times 2a. Then I'm going to do my outer. (3a minus 4 times negative 4b). Now I'm going to do my inner. B times 2a. And now I'm going to do my last. And now I'm going to go take care of everything that's in parentheses. So 3a times 2a is 6a squared. 3a times negative 4b, which is where I almost made my mistake and said 3a minus, but 3a times negative 4b is negative 12ab. So I'm going to erase my plus sign and do negative 12ab. B times 2a is going to be 2ab, and then b times negative 4b is minus 4b squared. Now let's see if we can combine any like terms. So there are no more 6a squared, so 6a squared comes down. There are two ab's, so those I can combine. Negative 12 plus 2 is going to give me negative 10ab. And then there's no more b squared, so that stays the same. And that should be our answer. Alright, so we know it's not F because that starts with a 5. We know it's not H because that starts with a 5. And we know it's not G because that's not enough digits. So our answer is J. And just double check yourself. 6a squared minus 10ab, 6a squared minus 10ab minus, there we go. So J has to be our answer. Correct. Next question. Well, this one looks like another bit of a doozy, so it's helpful to diagram it out. But first I'm going to read it. In kilometers, the approximate distance to the Earth's horizon from a point h meters above the surface can be determined by evaluating the expression, square root 12 times h. About how far is the apparent horizon to a person looking out to sea from the top of a cliff 350 meters above sea level? Fun stuff. Alright, so I'm going to diagram it out. Alright, so down here is our horizon. Up here is our cliff. And there's our person. Although I think the top of their head's getting cut off by my screen. Okay, but anyway, regardless. So, from here to here is 350 meters. They want to know if they're all the way up here, how far are they looking to get to the horizon? And the horizon is just this horizontal place here. Horizontal. This lady needs to remember how to spell. So horizontal is going straight across. Alright, so if our height is 350, then we have our h. We just have to solve the equation that they gave us. So it's the square root of 12 times 350. And then we're going to, you know what, this would be a perfect one for Desmos. So we're going to do the square root symbol, and then we're going to do parentheses, 350, or excuse me, I should do it in the same order that we wrote it, 12 times 350, parentheses. And the answer is 64.807. Is that one of our answer choices? If we round up, it is. So let's go with that one. Check my answer. Yay. Alright, factoring. Good stuff. Alright, let's pull up the whiteboard. Alright, so our equation is written in a standard formula. So the standard formula is ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, so our a is this imaginary 1. Our b is another imaginary 1. And then our c, oops. This is the reason you have to have nice handwriting. Our c equals negative 12. Now there are, just like the last problem, there are multiple ways to do this, but I'm going to show you the one that I am most comfortable with. I am a visual person, so I like the x. Down here on the bottom, you're going to have a times c. On the top, you'll have your b. And then whatever your factors are going to be divided by a. Alright. So a times c. 1 times negative 12 is negative 12. Our b is 1. So what factors go into 12 that when added together would give us a 1? Let's go to Desmos and take a look. So we're going to do 12, or actually negative 12, divided by x, hit the wheel, and then the table. None of these look like they're going to give me the 1 that I need. So I'm going to erase this one, and I'm going to go with 3. Oh, there we go. But that's going to give me negative 1. I want positive 1. So what happens if I change this to negative 3? Negative 3 and positive 4, if you add them together, that gives you positive 1. So that's what I'm looking for, negative 3 and 4. Negative 3 and 4. If you multiply them together, you get negative 12. If you add them, you get positive 1. Alright, so now we got to divide by a, which is 1. So divide by 1, divide by 1. Both of these give you a whole number. So we have nothing fancy to do there. So it's going to be x minus 3. Oh, goodness, I did it again. And then x plus 4. Let's see if that is one of our answer choices. X plus 3. No, we need x minus 3. There we go. It is G. Correct. Which expression is equivalent to 8x4 minus 2x squared over 2x squared? My goodness. That means we need to copy this down onto our whiteboard. Alright, so I wrote our problem down. And what we're going to do next is rearrange it a little. So this is the same thing as 8x to the 4th over 2x squared minus 2x squared over 2x squared. So now we're going to simplify. 2 goes into 8 4 times. And then for the x's, the bases are the same, so since we're dividing, we're going to subtract our exponents. So this is going to go bye-bye, and 4 minus 2 is 2. So we're going to have 4x squared minus, now let's go over here, 2 divided by 2 is 1. X squared divided by x squared is also 1. So this whole thing is going to be minus 1. For x squared minus 1 would be h. Hey, love it when I'm right. Ben's Bakery charges a fee of $2D plus 25 to deliver D boxes of baked goods, while Dan's Bakery charges $3D plus 20. Which expression describes how much more Dan's Bakery charges than Ben's Bakery? Let's find out. Alright. Ben's Bakery charges a fee of $2 a box plus $25 to deliver baked goods. Dan charges $3 a box plus $20 for the same thing. Which expression describes how much more Dan's Bakery charges than Ben's Bakery? So how much more does one charge than the other tells me that that's a subtraction problem. So I'm going to go to my board, and I wrote down the information that I needed. So I need to subtract these two. Now Dan charges more per box than Ben, so I'm going to put Dan first. We're going to go 3D plus 20 minus what Ben charges. All right. Now I need to take that imaginary one and distribute it out. So I have 3D plus 20 minus 2D minus 25. Now I'm going to combine like terms. So I have a 3D and a negative 2D. Those two can be combined, and that gives me just D, 1D. Alright, now I have 20 and negative 25. If I combine those, what do I get? I get negative 5. So that is how much more Dan charges than Ben. D minus 5. And we're correct. Alright, so this question looks like a doozy, but you just got to take a moment and logic it out. Alright, so each week Jessica earns a 2% bonus on any sales she makes over $600. She also receives a fixed salary of $190 per week. If she sold $1,300 worth of merchandise in a week, which equation could be used to determine her total earnings? Alright, so she makes $190 a week no matter what. She sold $1,300 worth of merchandise this week, but she only gets the 2% bonus on anything over $600. So we have to subtract $1,300 and $600. And then we can do the bonus, the 2%, on that. She doesn't get to keep the $1,300. That's just how much she sold. And so then we're going to add those together. So do we have an equation that looks similar to this? We're not doing the 2% on everything, so it's not F. we're not doing 2% on just 600. It's anything over 600, so it's not G. They didn't say that it was 190 plus 600, so it's not H, so it's got to be J. Boom, correct. Alright, so here's another one of those fun ones where we're doing scientific notation. So we have to move the decimal to just after the 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And because we're moving it in that direction, I think it's going to be that one. Yeah. Oh boy. What is the equivalent of this? We're going to need to write this one out on our whiteboard. Be right back. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do here is simplify. And if I'm looking at my top equation, it looks like the greatest common factor is 3. So I'm going to take 3 out. And it looks like I can also take some x's out. My smallest x, which is the one I'll be able to take out, is x to the 5th power. And then the y's, my smallest y that I can take out is just a y. And that leaves me with 3 goes into 12 4 times. The x and x is 1, y and y is 1, so that's done with that one. 3 and 3 is 1, x 5, and x to the 10th gives me x to the 5th because we're subtracting our exponents. Y and y to the 3rd gives me y squared. Done with that one. Now for the last one, 3 goes into 21 7 times. X to the 5 and x to the 15 we're subtracting, so that gives me x to the 10th. Y and y4 gives me y to the 3rd. Alright, and you'll notice, let me switch colors here, that these two are the same, so they're going to cancel each other out. And then that just leaves me with the 4 minus x5y squared. 4 minus x5y squared plus 7x10. Oh, there we go. It's our first one. That's my final answer. Correct. All right.